Hello everybody and welcome to the first issue of the Black Powder Epic Battles Bootcamp. Now, no matter which version of the Epic Battles you play, Revolution, the American Civil War or the Waterloo Campaign, they all follow the same fundamental rules. So first off, we'll look at army composition, what you need to actually make your army. Then we'll look at staff rating. This affects your commander's ability to give orders to the units under his command. And then third off, we'll have a quick look at unit stats. What the stats are and what each of the stats means and what the value on those stats actually means. So first off, let's have a look at army composition, the first building blocks of your army. And it's the brigade. Now the brigade has your commander. And within the brigade, there can be anything from 2 to 6 or more regiments. It's entirely up to you. In this example, I've got 4 regiments. Now, later on when you get to Napoleonics, if you're playing Napoleonics, then it's not regiments, they are battalions. But for all intents and purposes, they are exactly the same, they're just name changes. So you've got 4 regiments into a brigade, or it could be 4 battalions into a brigade. That is your basic building blocks of your army. I'm not going to go into the actual contents of what is in each regiment, because each country had their regiment stroke battalion different. The British had 10 companies in a regiment, and other countries had 6. So I'm not going to go into that much detail. Just for playing this game, your basic structure is a brigade. So to play a brigade, all you need really is a commander and 2 regiments, and you've got a brigade. So you can play with that amount of figures. Okay, so next up after brigade, you have a division, which is 2 or more brigades. Now, on average, I think most divisions in the American War of Independence were made up of 3 brigades, but you need 2. 2 brigades will make you a division, and again, you have a higher officer, a major or a colonel in charge of the division, and then you've got 2 brigades, and each brigade will have a commander in charge of the regiments. Now obviously each regiment has got an officer in charge, but on your figures that's what your little commander strip is. So your commander strip has your officer with your flags and your drummer or your musician. So you got your 4 regiments in the 1st brigade with the officers in each regiment, and then you've got a brigade commander who could be mounted or on foot, doesn't have to be mounted, and then you've got your division commander who's in charge of both brigades. Now for the division commander, I like to use a larger base, so he's more readily visible on the table. I'll get out my American Civil War figures in a minute and show you what this actually looks like on the table. And then after a division, you can take 2 divisions, and 2 divisions together is called a corps. And then again, so you'll have your corps commander, you'll have 2 division commanders, and you'll have 4 brigade commanders. If you're going to take this army, again, it doesn't necessarily have to be 2 divisions in the corps. It can be 3, 4, 5. It just needs to be a minimum of 2. You can't have a corps with 1 division. I suppose you could, but mainly if you're going to have a corps, you've got 2 divisions minimum. Now 1 division could have 3 brigades in it, and 1 division could have 2 brigades in it. Doesn't have to be the same. And then if you've got 2 corps. I haven't done a picture for this because it'll be massive. 2 corps together gives you your army. There is rough structure of how your army is put together. Now this is just infantry, this is not counting cavalry, but if it was cavalry, one of the brigades would be squadrons, not regiments, because for some reason mounted units are classed as called squadrons, not regiments. Okay everyone, so as per my picture, here is my 1st brigade, 4 infantry regiments and a commander. So the next step then is to do a division. So there is my infantry division, made up of a division commander, 2 brigades, and each brigade has got 4 regiments. Now you don't have to do each brigade with infantry regiments. You can substitute 1 infantry regiment for an artillery battery if you wish to. You could have 2 infantry regiments and an artillery battery. It's entirely up to you. As long as you have at least 2 units in your brigade for your commander, then you're good to go. Now a lot of, if you're playing scenarios, you'll find that the rebels or the Americans on the American War for Independence would have a commander and 6, 7, maybe 8 regiments attached to that one commander. If you're playing that scenario, then there's nothing you can do about that. That's the way you have to play it. But if you're playing stand-up games, no, just straight, let's choose an army for X number of points, then I don't recommend you going any more than 4 units per brigade, because when we get onto command and control, you'll see that it can make things difficult. Okay, so let's have a quick look at command and control. Now, your commanders will have different ratings depending on how good they are at commanding the units. Obviously, I'll put a little table up in the corner, somewhere up here, showing you the different ratings of different commanders. Now, if you've got a really exceptional commander, you'll have a leadership of 10. And if you've got one that's mediocre, you could be as low as 7. And it makes a big difference when you're playing the game. Now, again, if you're playing historical scenarios, then the commander you've got is set according to how good he actually was during the battle that you're refighting. So you can't really do anything about that. Now, if you're playing, again, the stand-up games and using points, then the points will vary depending on how much you want to spend on your commander. Obviously, the more you spend, the better quality he will be, and it will make a difference when you come to do your orders. Now, in Black Powder, all your movement is done by command, so you have to command your units to move. And this is where I was saying about having a lot of units can be difficult for you, especially if you've got a commander with a low leadership value. So let's do an example. So here is our infantry brigade, and here is our commander. I'll move these over for a second. So let's say he is a poor commander. So his leadership is 7. Now, you've got 2 types of orders to move. You can do individual regiments. You can order that regiment to move forward. You can order that regiment to move forward and go into a line, and etc. Or you can do a brigade order, which means you order every unit to do the same thing. So you can do brigade order, everything move forward. Now here's the thing, with black powder you can do up to 3 actions. So you could move forward 3 times, you could move forward once and form a line, you could move forward once, form a line, move forward again. But this is where the tricky part comes, because you declare what you want the unit to do. So he is leadership 7. I want to do a brigade order, and I want the whole of my brigade to move forward 1 move and form a line. So that's 2 actions. Now, because his leadership is 7, I need to roll 2 dice now. If I get a 7, they'll only be able to conduct 1 of their actions. If I get, this is where I was saying, if he was leadership 10, you got a good chance you're going to pass. But leadership 7, not so good. Would you risk doing 3 orders on a leadership 7 commander? I don't know. I don't know whether I would. I don't think I have. I don't think I probably would. I'd just be moving forward straight, and I probably wouldn't have them like this. I'd just have them in straightforward line, so I could just trudge them across the table to shoot. So anyway, let's roll and see what happens. So I need to roll 6 or less, and I rolled a 7. So that means you can do 1 action. So you can move forward 1 move. So the whole brigade can move forward 1 move, like that. But they can't form a line, because they didn't get the 6 to do that. So that's that. Now, let's try that again. If I roll it, and it fails like that just did, 10, you can't move at all. Now that was doing a brigade order. Now if you decide you want this unit to go forward, form a line, this unit to come forward and forward line, them 2 units just to move forward once, then you have to order each one individually. So you need to roll 6 or less for that one to move. Failed. So it's failed. Because it failed on the first one, it meant that I cannot then move any of the others. Once you fail, that commander's go is over. You can't order any other units left. So command and control is really important, and that's why I was saying keep your div at a maximum of 4, unless of course you're playing an historical scenario where you haven't got any choice, because if you want to, you've got greater flexibility in your command movement orders. Okay, so next up, let's actually have a look at the stats for each unit, and we'll discuss what each of those stats mean. Okay everyone, so here is a typical unit stats for a unit. So we've got the unit name, which is line infantry, the armament of that unit, which in this case is a musket, and then we've got the hand-to-hand value, which is 6. Now that's the number of dice they roll in hand-to-hand. The shooting value, again this is 3, again that's the number of dice the unit will roll when shooting. Morale, that's the morale value of the unit, which is the number it takes. When you roll a d6, you have to get 4+ or higher to pass a morale check. And then your stamina is the number of hits you take before you have to start rolling morale checks, etc. And then your special rules is any special rules relating to the unit. Now, British infantry normally have what's called the first fire rule, which basically means that the first time they shoot, they actually shoot 4 dice instead of 3. They get an extra dice for the first round of shooting. So that is typical stats for a unit. And what we shall do is, in the next episode, I'll do some fancy graphics and we'll get the figures out and we'll play through using the rules for units. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you all next time.